You ever play something new? Katana Zero is new. It's an original IP from an independent studio. Games like this are a breath of fresh air from the flood of uninspired releases. That's the best case scenario anyway. In reality, some novel ideas don't guarantee a good game, and a fresh face can be hard to sell. It'd be great if we could give every game a shot, but time and money are limited, and taking a chance is a lot riskier than reaching for the tried and true. The backlog is endless, and competition is fierce. Can a game like Katana Zero really stand up to all that? Probably the first thing you've noticed about Katana Zero is the sheer speed of it all. One swing of the sword is enough to kill most enemies, and one hit is all it takes to put you down. The attack animation is quick, rolling is snappy, and movement speed is high. The impressive part is that despite how fast it all happens, everything feels weighty and satisfying. The hit stop when you score a kill, hearing bullets ricochet off your blade, it all feels significant, but it doesn't demand much of your time. The speed can be brutal though. Clearing 10 enemies only to miss a parry and have to restart can be frustrating, but thankfully respawning is quick. Dying doesn't set you back very far, and each attempt gives you the chance to tweak your approach. Do I want to kill this guy with a bottle or save it for that one? Bait him into shooting so I can deflect the shot? Do I kill him quickly so none of his friends notice? You gradually find the order of operations that works best for you, and after so many failed attempts, seeing the playback of the final run is a great reward. The mechanics are actually pretty simple. Jump, roll, slash, and throw objects. You can also slow down time, but this really just offsets how blindingly fast everything is. Slowing time makes deflecting bullets, timing a roll, or landing a trick shot more approachable, but ironically, the most satisfying moments when you pull it off without slowing time. All things considered, your arsenal is quite limited, and yet you have everything you need to solve whatever situation the game throws at you. The first couple sword swings while airborne grant a bit of momentum if you need a boost or want to adjust your jump. And when you don't have an item, deflecting bullets provides you with a ranged option. Throwing a prop can work as a one-hit bullet shield, or you can add an extra attack between sword swings. Each tool is multi-purpose, with the exception of your ability to walk slowly and hide behind certain objects. There aren't many levels that take advantage of the stealth mechanics, so they come out feeling a little unexplored. Compared to how much mileage Katana Zero gets out of all its other systems, stealth having a dedicated button but being so rarely used feels strange. Given how versatile most of the moves are, the way you use them to interact with obstacles is similarly varied. Some enemies might have a response to your tricks, like Skinny Ricky, who can block a sword strike and put your attack on cooldown, which can be a death sentence if he's backed up by a gunman. Most gunmen you might just run in and deflect their shot, but since you can only deflect one bullet per swing, a shotgun blast is still lethal even if you time a parry. Like everything else, rolling is also pushed much farther than you'd expect. You can roll through lasers, but once they start moving you realize that the roll only covers a fixed distance, so your timing is going to need to be precise. This can get frustrating though. Some hazards feel like a total gamble on whether you'll roll through or not. Throwable items add a whole new layer to enemy interactions. Tossing a bottle can kill Ricky while your sword is still unusable, and projectiles can absorb some more of those shotgun pellets. You can use items to lure enemies together so you can finish them all in one fell swoop, or you can pick off a few of them from a distance. How you choose to budget your limited supply of items is one of the core pieces to each screen's puzzle. Despite its many subtleties, the gameplay feels very natural to learn, and that's due in no small part to some excellent level design. Elements are placed in a way that eases you into the mechanics without overwhelming you with too much at once. For example, doing this dash move puts your sword on cooldown, and since there are so many enemies, you're not getting all of them in one swing. If you don't notice the cooldown bar, like I did, then dying because your sword doesn't work will clue you in that something's up. Right on the first screen, you're immediately taught that if you use the dash, you better kill everyone, or at least have some breathing room before the next guy shows up. Moments like this happen constantly in Katana Zero, and it all speaks to a very deep understanding of game design, and an impressive ability to subtly teach the player. Levels are also kept fresh with a healthy supply of gimmicks, but thankfully none of them feel forced or detract from the core experience. The nightclub's loud music means you don't have to worry about sound. Breaking a pipe can fill the room with steam and block cameras, while also blinding enemies. The sections that do focus on stealth provide a nice change of pace. The minecart section in level 5 is my favorite though, since you engage with the minecart in so many different ways. It obviously helps you cross gaps, but it's also a shelter from overhead lasers, or it can be a timer since you need to be there to catch it on the way out. The gimmicks sometimes come in the form of an item. The flamethrower gives you a reusable projectile, albeit one with a limited range, and lets you use explosive barrels. The remote bomb can take out multiple enemies from a safe distance, and Molotovs are a more immediate explosive. Smoke bombs will keep enemies from shooting and make a head-on charge more effective. There's a nice variety of gimmicks, and the experimentation process is really satisfying. The freshest thing about Katana Zero, though, is an incredibly distinct visual identity. There's a lot of cyberpunk media out there, but Katana Zero still manages to be unique. The consistent use of VHS tapes, the level selection menu and replay function being a VCR, the guy turning on his little Walkman and a track list appearing in the corner at the start of missions. There's a well-executed aesthetic here. The ingenious UI design, gorgeous art, fantastic soundtrack, it all comes together to make a really stylish game. By comparison, the story is not quite as refreshing. Gruff man takes care of innocent girl is a common formula, and while it's executed well here, I wouldn't mind a bolder narrative. What really kept me engaged, though, was how the story is told. A more standard delivery method would not have kept me nearly as hooked as I was, but the presentation of the plot works wonders here. The nebulous divide between hallucination and reality, the recurring visits to the psychiatrist uncovering more of the nightmare, the mysterious figures, the vague dialogue, it all elevates the story far beyond what it sounds like in a plot summary. If you enjoy theorizing, there's a lot of fun to be had here. Was that real or just a hallucination? Who are these people? What is the Juncture Company's role in all this? Katana Zero raises a lot of questions, and it's not until the end that it starts snapping into place. If surreal and vague storytelling isn't quite your thing, the core plot is by no means bad. And there's a lot of charming moments, like overhearing a conversation between the guards, or anything involving this receptionist. Despite the open-endedness, though, Katana Zero is much more linear than you might expect. All the dialogue trees really control is which bits of trivia you learn, and very few levels offer you any kind of alternate path. There are some fun extras if you follow very specific sequences, but the plot is pretty uncompromising. The worst thing I can say about this story is that it's just unfinished. The game lacks a proper conclusion. A real ending should be here once the upcoming free DLC drops, but as it is now, expect to be left wanting more. This is a short game, but that's because there's no clutter. The action is quick, the story is told with a lot of restraint, and even the minute things feel very deliberate and well considered. Katana Zero takes none of your attention for granted. The game takes a strong foundation, polishes it to a mirror finish, and absolutely refuses to overstay its welcome. Very rarely do you see a game this holistically good. With this strong of a creative vision, executed with this much grace and delivered so succinctly, it's remarkable how much game Askisoft has managed to wring out of such a simple concept. But it's even more remarkable that, despite the sheer quantity of incredible 2D action games, Katana Zero does manage to stand out as something truly worth playing. So that was my first ever video. I'd like to give a big thank you to Nathan, who was just immensely helpful when it came to making the script. I feel like I got so much valuable feedback. Overall, even though I do have various thoughts on the final product, I'll leave those in the video description, but generally, I had a fun time. I feel like I learned a lot while making this, and it was really satisfying to see it all come together. Really, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day.